What's up, guys? It's Manga Time. Once again, I'm here today to bring you my review of Bleach 596 Rub Dolls 3. And it's pretty weird, actually, that the chapter came out today, so maybe we're back to the normal release schedule already. I don't know. That would be pretty funny if we were back to that already. So, yeah, this week's is okay. Kubo's doing this fight a little differently to the Fake Karakura. Like, the Fake Karakura was really linear, and it was like one fight after the next, pretty much. And this one, a lot of the fights are meshing together, which is kind of interesting, actually. So, zombified Kensei and Rose show up, and basically Hisagi tries to throw himself, presumably at Kensei and Rose. And what I thought was kind of interesting, I don't know whether Kubo intended to do this or not, is the way Hisagi is going down with his blade like that. It's really reminiscent of how he killed Tozen, and it's quite neat that he's now going in to attack Kensei like that. However, Kensei's all of a sudden quite beastly, and he basically smacks Hisagi out of the way, grabs him, and then slams his head against the floor, which instantly knocks him out. So, I think that's hilarious that Byakuya spent ages just like, how can I use Hakuda against the Zanpakuto? It's just not possible, and Kensei just walks in and takes him out in 2 hits, which is nice and funny. And as Hisagi gets knocked out, he's still not going to show his Bankai, so great, thanks Kubo. Senbon Takura goes spinning across the floor, and Kensei picks it up. So Byakuya kind of prepares himself to do battle with Kensei, but Kensei just hands him his Zanpakuto instead. And Mayuri arrives, and at this point I was just thinking to myself, oh god, he can't have killed Giselle off screen. I mean, for Christ's sake, we went through, what, 7 chapters worth of fight? And then basically Mayuri's like, this is just so good, this is the Kurotsuchi Corpse Squad, or whatever he calls it. And this is nice. I think the last 2 times Byakuya and Kurotsuchi spoke was in Huecamundo when Yami was around. So now they're talking again, and basically Byakuya's like, what have you done to the 2 captains? And Mayuri's like, I saved them. And we do get a flashback. Basically, the Arrancar kicked their asses. Well, kind of. What essentially seems to have happened is actually that Kensei and Rose kicked the Arrancar's asses, but because they got the Arrancar's blood on them, they were infected by Mayuri's drug. So, as kind of I think I called, and I think loads of people called, the blood was in the drugs was in the Arrancar's blood, and that's probably how Toshiro got infected when he slashed Coolhorn, as a lot of people suspected. So basically, yeah, Kensei and Rose are also down and out now. Don't know where the hell Toshiro is, presumably somewhere. And we finally get an explanation as to why some zombies were dark-skinned and others not. And it's basically simply just dependent on the strength of the person you're trying to zombify. If they're a regular kind of Shinigami, they only need a kind of drop of blood to reach their brain. But if they're mega powerful, the blood has to get to their heart and then spread through their body. And apparently their skin colour is actually a dark red. And Giselle's kind of like, oh crap. And basically, Mayuri has apparently all the blood of everyone in the Soul Society, which is kind of... Mayuri's he's a great character, but he's such a convenient plot device. So basically he tells Giselle that, if I use this on your zombies, I can change their blood and they become my zombies. You get this really cool panel of Mayuri looking freaky as hell and the 2 zombies just rising up behind him. And then Kensei basically impales Giselle through the chest. And that's the end of her. Or is it? I don't think she's dead. I think Giselle is still alive, because we already saw that one Shinigami slice her almost in 2 and she was fine. Her body rebuilt itself or whatever. All that's happened here is Kensei has impaled her, and I think she's going to be fine. I imagine Mayuri probably left her alone, and then she's going to get back up later on and probably do something else. Admittedly, she's now fairly useless against Mayuri, but I just can't see that being the end of her. If it is, that's hugely disappointing. But I'm going to refrain from letting that deduct from the chapter for now, because I feel that she'll be back. Anyway, we then return back to where we are. Mayuri's doing like some fancy pose. And basically, Byakuya is really not happy with this. He thinks that Mayuri should have just let Kensei and Rose die gracefully instead of messing around with their corpses. So those 2 probably are pretty much dead. This is just a way of Kubo giving them a little bit more limelight, a little bit more panel time even after their death. Almost certainly they will be killed off. Killed off properly. And then, Mayuri's like, our opinions are clashing. We get another piece of kind of insightful, well, I was going to say insightful. We get another piece of insight from Mayuri. About kind of the mantra of Soul Society. And And the manga stream one doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Mayuri's justification for this is, you know, I think any soldier would want to be able to protect Soul Society even after their deaths. The manga stream one says protecting Soul Society until we draw our last breaths. Wouldn't you say that is the deepest desire of any member of the Gotei 13? Hello, Mayuri, you're controlling zombies. They drew their last breaths a long time ago. So that's the other translation's better for that one. Byakuya is like, that's absurd. However, they're interrupted by the arrival of Pepe, who tries to take control of Kensei with the love, and he's looking pretty worse for wear after being booted in the face. And he's like, you know, even Gigi zombies can't resist my love. I'm coughing at the sight of him. He's disgusting. But he's like, you know, I've managed to captivate countless number of her zombies in the past. Why? I have no idea. But he then gets smacked in the face. And Kubo likes doing his kind of comical faces for Pepe when he gets hit. Like, it's just the fat bulges in, like, funny-looking ways and stuff. He gets sent flying by Kensei. Kensei is all of a sudden, like, this uber-powerful guy. Although Toshiro did kind of get beastly after becoming a zombie as well. But anyway, basically, Miyuri's explanation for this is that now that they're my zombies, they don't know the meaning of love. And Pepe's like, in this real caricature. And I tell you what, Kubo hates Pepe. He hates Pepe. Like, he really hates Pepe. You can just tell he hates Pepe. Pepe gets punched over and over and over by Kensei, and his fat, like, spreads out, and it makes him look even fatter than he was before. And he's, like, half naked, and just looks awful. And Kensei just punches him into a building, and Kubo, you can tell he hates this character. And it's a real shame, because Pepe was really hyped, and now he's just become this pathetic mess, which is a shame. It's definitely a shame. But, you know, he survives Kensei's onslaught with actually relatively little injuries, and he's like, you know, damn all you loveless bastards, I won't forgive any of you. But just as he's kind of ranting to himself, he looks to the side, and there's Liltotto standing over him with a pretty cold look on her face, and that's the end of the chapter. And the end of Pepe. I'm telling you right now. Now, what can we garner from the end of this chapter? Well, we know that Pepe set Meninas and Liltotto against each other in his effort to try and kill everybody off to take all the credit. So, what's happened to Meninas? I think it's possible Liltotto's eaten her, but that's a stretch, because they're obviously kind of friendly. About as friendly as you get in Vandenreich. Liltotto's very clearly going to eat Pepe and maybe get, like, his powers off him or something. But I think we're setting up for Liltotto to fight now, and, you know, I think she's going to be mega powerful. Because it seems to be no coincidence to me that Byakuya, Kensei, Rose, Mayuri are now all in the same space. And since we don't know where Toshiro is, I imagine he'll come over eventually as well. 5 captains fighting Liltotto. That seems like a lot, but I just think Liltotto is going to be majorly powerful. The Glutton. And she's received a bit of hype herself. Nothing like Pepe got. Pepe's is a really weird case. I mean, Askin was like, you're a monster. I mean, all I can think now is we were supposed to take that as monster personality-wise as opposed to strength. So, yeah, whatever, I guess. Pepe's a bit of a disappointment. What is interesting to note, however, is that when Yuharvak is around, the Sternritter are like this orderly, kind of just battalion like they were in the first invasion. What we've seen, however, is that when Yuharvak's not around, they break down and they like kind of just lose it. We first saw this after the Sternritter meeting when they were kind of allowed to go off on their own and they started infighting really quickly. Like, Basby went off against Hashwolf, Askin intervened, and it was just like, oh boy, this is going down crazy. And now we're seeing it even better. Yuharvak's nowhere to be seen. He's in the Royal Realm, and the Sternritter are just falling apart. Like, even before Yuharvak left, Basby was taking people out left, right, and centre. Pepe was trying to kill them all to take the credit. Now Liltotto is going to eat Pepe. I'm still really hoping Kubo gives us a proper backstory for kind of just the organisation as a whole. I'll take that at this point. And we kind of discover why these guys are all such loose cannons, especially when there's no one around to lead them. They kind of just go off and do their own thing, essentially, which is quite interesting, actually. But I do think the next few weeks will now be dedicated to Liltotto going on some rampage, since Pepe's now probably dead. Byakuya hasn't really had a proper fight yet. But that's kind of it for this week's chapter, guys. The art was quite good as usual. Pepe's kind of comical fat faces as he just gets punched around were funny. Good to finally get a explanation for the zombies. Zombies' different colour schemes. Disappointing that Giselle got beaten like that, but like I said, I don't think she's dead. So, you know, on that mark, I'm going to give the chapter an 8 out of 10. I thought it was quite good. Pepe was a huge disappointment in the end. If he dies next week, which I think he will, then it was a big disappointment. But Liltotto, another one of my favourites, is looking primed to do something cool. And Askin's still nowhere to be seen. And hopefully Colonel Sanders gets off his arse. But yeah, that's it for this week, guys. Not a whole lot else to say, really. But yeah, let me know what you thought of the chapter below in the comments. Do you think Liltotto's going to be really powerful? Is she about to eat Pepe? You know, kind of revenge for him getting Menenas to punch her in the face. What's happened to Menenas? Is she dead? Is she just incapacitated? Has Liltotto eaten her? I kind of get the impression maybe the love doesn't disappear until after Pepe dies, so, you know, who knows. But yeah, it's interesting that Kubo's not really taking this in a direction I could have really predicted. I thought that Pepe was going to get the upper hand on Byakuya, Basby was going to get the upper hand on Rukia Renji, so on and so forth, and then the Fallbringers would come in and the Arankars, and that would be the cue for their entrance, so who the hell knows when they're going to come in. But yeah, that's it for this week, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you thought. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. See ya!